Welcome to the Firelock and Quill podcast. I am Jason Galliff, and I am joined by my fellow host, Ryan Kerr and Ethan Yazel. This podcast is brought to you by Blue Lion Coffee. Life is too short to drink bad coffee. Find them online at www.bluelioncoffeeroaster.com. I love muzzleloading. Muzzleloading news, reviews, and information available at www.ilovemuzzleloading.com. Muzzleloader Magazine, the publication for traditional black powder shooters, www.muzzleloadermagazine.com, and Reenacting Schedule, the source for reenacting, living history, and rendezvous events, www.reenactingschedule.org. Good afternoon, fellas. How are y'all doing?
Dandy. I was just thinking, Jason, I'm going to cut you off right now, Ryan. The www dot. Where does that come from for you? And why are we still holding on to that?
Because I'm old school.
Okay.
Old school or old head?
Yes. I am the oldest one on the podcast. Thank you.
The handsomest, too. Best haircut.
Well, I mean, you and I have the same haircut.
I know. That's why it's the best. 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, fellas.
If only Ryan could grow a beard.
If only he was brave enough.
This is about as good as it gets.
Like in the movie Joe Dirt.
Yes, just like in the movie Joe Dirt. I'd like to think that most of my life is just like the movie Joe Dirt.
Yep.
So I'm well. Thank you for asking. I'm going to throw in this spicy little anecdote. There were a few Thanksgivings back where we were going on a family vacation. We were leaving the day after Thanksgiving. And so we were going to leave. We were headed south. Nicole's family's in Louisville. So we were just going to stay down there in Louisville, then head from there in the morning. But Reese, my oldest son, wanted to take a friend with him who couldn't come until Thursday night, that Thanksgiving. So Reese and I stayed back so that he could come with him. And everybody else took off. It was Thanksgiving. I said, Reese, what do you want to do for Thanksgiving, buddy? He was probably 14, 15 maybe at the time. He goes, I want to eat bagel bites. I said, like the little freezer bagel bite things? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, you want to watch a movie or something? And he goes, what do you think we should watch? And I said, Joe Dirt, because he'd never seen it. So for Thanksgiving, we had bagel bites and we watched Joe Dirt. And then we head to Kentucky. I'm not going to say what I was about to say, but I am thankful for it. I had something a little spicy and clever in my mind, but I don't think it's appropriate.
This is a family-friendly podcast.
This is a Kentucky-friendly podcast.
So what about you, Ethan?
It's just been crazy here. Our second is rolling over very well, and she wants to crawl very bad. She's she's over 14 pounds now, and she's almost 5 months old. So we just got out the 6 to 12 months close for her, which is crazy. She's just kind of, that sums up the state of how things are for us. Being parents of 2, it's just kind of mass chaos.
Wait till they're
right.
born.
Yeah. That's once Josephine can start crawling, I think it's going to be really crazy. But things are going well in the shop, where everybody's back to school. So we see a little uptick with that, with teachers and parents and students kind of being stuck. There's no other alternatives for places to go. And so that helps us out some. Just got back from the CLA show and had a good time. I think we're going to talk about that some today. But something else I've done kind of related to what we're talking about here is a couple weeks ago, I purchased the inventory out of a closing muzzleloading shop in Arizona. And so I've been inventorying a bunch of that stuff and listing it on the website and kind of going through stuff. So that's been a lot of fun, kind of seeing what was there. And, I kind of got an idea of it before I sent the money to a stranger, but, when you can kind of count everything out and see what it's like, you kind of get a better picture. So I've been kind of doing that on the side when I have some free time.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I've not been sitting idly, you could say.
Well, for me, we finally launched the digital version of Muzzle.
Nice.
a long time coming. People can go online to muzzleloaderonline.com. Just for you. I left out the www.
I noticed. Thank you.
And you can subscribe. It's $40 a year, which is the same price as our print subscription. But in addition to the current issue and 5 future issues, you also get the entire catalog of back issues right now from 2023 to current. And before the end of the year, I'll be adding all the back issues from 2012 to current. So you'll get, almost, 15 years or 14 years of back issues included with your subscription.
Now, Jason, does this mean you're going to be phasing out the print publication?
No.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure we got that out there.
I heard you were phasing out the print publication. That's what I heard.
I heard it too.
I can be there in about 8 hours.
You can kick both of our rear ends.
No, yeah, that is a funny thing because every time I bring up the digital subscription, people go, "Oh no, are you getting rid of the print?" No, personally, I don't want the digital edition. It's just we have people that want it, so I want to offer it to them. For me, as I've said numerous times, the whole time I'm designing the magazine, I see it on a screen. When I'm done, I want to hold a real magazine. And then I've also got another couple of projects in the works. We are going to be coming out here in the very near future with our own coffee, roasted by my good friends at Blue Lion Coffee Roasters.
Heck yeah, man. I cannot wait. This is going to be so fun.
So we should start shipping that in early September?
Yeah, that's what we're on.
Oh, man.
We've got the blend nailed down, and we've been talking about it for a long time, so I'm just ready to let loose and start filling up mailboxes with that beautiful aroma.
Well, the next thing is within the next couple of days, I'll have the label designed. And so end of the month, early September, it will begin shipping. I'm also working with my friends at LT Wright Knives. We're coming out with a patch knife. You can see some teasers of that on our Instagram or our Facebook. I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm excited to get one for myself.
Mm-hmm.
They make great knives, and it's pretty neat. It's coming out really good. It uses gunstock wood on the scales. Really excited about it. It's a good size, not too big, not too small.
You've really been branching out this year, Jason. This is exciting to see.
Yeah, trying to.
Yeah, I'm paying attention to your Instagram content as well, and you've really stepped that up, and you're posting a lot more regularly and stuff. I like seeing it.
Well, unfortunately, my social media manager had to go and buy a coffee shop, so he was not much help anymore.
He's a punk. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm thankful that he did.
Yeah, it's good. I've actually been I'm enjoying
it. Wrote you a nice check today.
And then that's kind of it. We've got some new stuff coming out with American Pioneer Video in the next 6 months or so that I'm really excited about, but I'm not going to get into that right yet. But it should be pretty cool.
It's going to be good.
So we've been embracing the downtime of summer, which we haven't had for a couple of years now. We feel like we finally found some footing in this new life that we've chosen with doing so many events. And so we did a little family vacation. And then I've been working on a lot of stuff, but it's been good kind of downtime work. I played a festival last weekend. It was really fun. I don't think I've played an outdoor fest like that in a couple of years. And so just like terribly hot and sweaty and just like kids dancing and just having a really good time. It was a lot of fun. I've got 3 shows lined up for the end of August. So I'll be playing in Kentucky, Missouri, and Illinois. So
that was totally an accident. I was trying to mute myself because I got to clear my throat.
I thought you just did it because I said the word Illinois.
No, I'm just dumb.
So anyway, playing some more music. That's a lot of fun. I'm putting the finishing touches on a record that's been waiting to come out since before we bought the Blue Lion. But the summer has been, the the sales are still coming in. People are still wanting coffee. That's really nice. We've been roasting a lot, and we're gearing up for a really busy autumn season. So we decided to stretch a little bit more. I think we're going to do Camden, South Carolina this year. We just added that one.
Cool.
Oh, nice.
I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I used to do Camden a long time ago when I lived in Middle Georgia. It was a really, really fun event.
So yeah, we're gearing up. We're going to have some fun. I wanted to get to the CLA, but I promised my daughter that I would do something with her that I had forgotten about. So she reminded me, and that was the right decision to make. So
Absolutely.
I hope you guys had fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we had a wonderful time. It was a great show. It was over way too fast.
I'd like to know how shows go by so quickly, because it felt like I was at the CLA for like half an hour, and it is gone, and I was back in the car.
It was just fun. It was a good show. It's a really good show. Did you pick up anything cool at the show?
I did not. We've been focused on kind of necessities after Josephine's hospital visit earlier this year. I put in a couple bids on the silent auction that the association does as a fundraiser, and got a really great poplar bark basket.
Oh, cool.
Which I was excited to get, but that was really my only take home. I got some stickers from some buddies, from Becky Mooneyham, and Flintlock Operator's camera guy was there. I cannot remember his name off the top of my head, but he dropped off a couple stickers too. A lot of things that I really wanted to take home, but just I didn't get a lot of time to walk the show and really analyze all the different artwork that was there to really get an idea of, or have enough time to make a decision on anything too.
Right.
I think I saw the whole show once, and I really like to make a couple pass throughs just to make sure I see everything. So I know there were some gems that I didn't get to see.
Mm-hmm. I came home with a couple of things. I did some trading for both of them. I got a beaded horn strap from Will Manier.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, one of his beaded powder horn straps. I would show it to you, except it's hanging in my living room. I attached a powder horn to it already. I know you can't really see it on the camera, but I got this rifle right here up top. It's a Herschel House rifle made in the mid-'80s, I believe, mid to late 80s. But it was the very first rifle that he made for American Pioneer Video.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's back with the company now, and that's where it'll stay. I don't really consider it mine. I'm just the caretaker.
Now, you don't generally come home from events like that with goods, do you, Jason?
I mean, not always, but occasionally.
So you had a pretty exciting little haul there. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, this is a gun I've known about for quite a while, and the owner wanted me to have it. He wanted it to be back with American Pioneer Video, and he wanted to keep it for a while, and he was finally ready to let it go. And like I said, we did some trading, and it's here now. I'm very thankful for him for wanting us to have it and for dealing, and it was good. It was really, really good. It made my show. It made it a really, really great show.
Yeah, that's great.
Before you got on, I was telling Ethan, I think Herschel made at least 4 guns for American Pioneer Video, maybe 5. And I now know where 3 of the others are. So that's pretty good.
Is your plan to hopefully acquire them sometime?
Yeah, I would like to acquire them because I'd like for all that stuff to stay with the company. It's all part of the history of the company, and it's nice to have them out at events where if someone is looking at one of our videos, I can go, this is the rifle that Mike Miller makes in the Daniel Boone video. This is the rifle Mark Silver makes in the traditional gun stocking video. Show them the tomahawk that Wallace Gussler makes in our tomahawk video. They can see it and see what's being made, and just adds a lot of depth to it.
I think sometimes the connections that you can tangibly hold from the work that you've produced over time, and just like the people that you know and love, like anytime we're shooting a Townsend's video, and we don't do a whole lot of like firing or anything like that in the Townsend's channel. But when we pop out the Mike Miller, rifle, it's always really, really neat. It's always a nice connection point. I remember, being in his gun shop, and then, eventually John buying something from him, and then it just brings all of that back, and it's really cool to think about those conversations.
Yeah, I mean, stuff is neat and stuff is cool, but for me, all the stuff that I own personally, it's a tangible link to those memories. The sculpture back here that Matt Finewald made, I think about all the times hanging out around the fire with Matt, or the quilt sheaths that Lally has made for me. I think about sitting around their kitchen table drinking coffee or whatever, and talking with her and Frank. It's these tangible things that just remind you of those special times.
Yeah, and when you're like, I've got a slotted spoon that Jamie Tyree gave me the first time I went to his house, and it's it's very special to me. I don't know that anybody else going through our kitchen box at camp would pull it out and say this is really special, but man, it's a prized possession of mine.
Yeah.
And so anytime, it's not something that's used at home all the time. I think that makes it even better because it's not party if it happens every night. But every time I go camping, I get to open that box and use my Jamie Tyree spoon. It makes me very happy. So, okay, I haven't been to this show. I've always wanted to go. This is 3 years in a row where I've actively tried to make it there, and I haven't been able to. So why don't you guys lay it out for me? What's the lay of the land, and what's the show all about?
So the CLA stands for Contemporary Longrifle Association. It is a nonprofit organization that was created to promote the arts and artists of long rifle culture. That's anybody who makes anything remotely related to flintlock long rifles or just long rifles, period. So whether it's powder horns, knives, guns, shooting bags, artwork, quill work, weaving, sewing, anything that's sculpture, anything that is related to those, early American history and I don't know what else I was going to say.
I'm sorry, I derailed you there.
No, you're right.
Podcast.
Yeah. No, I mean you're right. It's sculpture. It's really a widely encompassing thing as long as everything is handmade, not no mass produced guns there or what have you. And so the show, it's a gathering of members. You've got to be a member to attend, but you can join right there at the door. You don't have to be a member beforehand. You can join at the door. So you'll see artwork there that is, a couple $1,000 rifle all the way to a $100,000 rifle. And there's a lot of antiques there as well. So it's a little bit of something for everyone. It's at a fairly nice facility. It's at a really nice hotel in downtown Lexington, which is a great town. And it's just a phenomenal event.
I think it covers. I was asked that earlier today, and I thought it was around like 2 of the Kalamazoo like North Expo rooms, where you are, Jason. A couple of those stacked, maybe 3.
Someone told me they thought it was around 300 tables.
It's like 210 or 220 tables plus 15 or 20 booths.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a good sized show. There's really a lot there, and to kind of piggyback on what you had said there, Jason, like anything kind of from the muzzleloading era is there. It's not time frame specific. There's pre-flintlock and there's post-flintlock, and there's different regional artworks too. Like there's some really neat early Dutch guns, and then there's some very American later era guns and accoutrements and things. I mean, it paints with a wide brush, and I think that's what makes it really neat. One table can be one thing, and then the next table can be 300 years difference as far as time frame wise, but it all blends together really well.
Yeah, and there's a there's several educational displays also. So it's not just people trying to get your money. Some people are doing displays about different contemporary crafts people. Some do displays of antique goods with educational signage and stuff. It's one of my favorite shows of the year. I mean, I usually work really hard there, but I don't know. There's nothing like it. There's a lot of good shows, but there's nothing like this one.
Yeah, it still has its own unique feel to it. It's in the Rupp Arena, one of their like expo halls, if you're familiar with the Lexington area, and the setup starts on Thursday, and I think setup goes till like 7. But anytime on that Thursday, you can start setting up, as an artist and a member if you have a table there. And that's really one of my favorite days, because even though I get in later than I want to because of the drive, that's one of the only periods where the show is kind of slow and you have a minute to talk to different people. Like, we usually set up behind Mitch Yates, and I only have time to talk to him that Thursday. So I get my conversations with Mitch Yates done Thursday and with several other people that I want to, because by the time the show opens, it stays pretty busy.
Mm-hmm.
But then it runs.
I was just going to say, there is one thing. Anybody that's a member can get in on Thursday, whether they have a table or not. The show is not officially open, but it's open. So
Gotcha. I didn't know that.
Yeah, anybody can come in on Thursday. Of course, the earlier they're there on Thursday, the least number of tables will be set up and ready, because the majority of people come in Thursday afternoon and set up. But yeah, any member can come in Thursday once they open the doors. It's open late Thursday and Friday. From Thursday, the hours are typically like 11 to 7, and Friday it's like 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then Saturday it's like 8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Yeah, on Saturday, that's kind of traditionally the long day, but it's a Friday-Saturday format show. And that gives everybody Sunday to travel or to recover. But on Saturday, it closes at 2, and then there's the CLA Association business meeting that pretty much runs from 2 to 2:30 to 3, somewhere in there. And that's where things kind of quiet down. But then when that meeting's over, that show empties out pretty quick. It's impressive to see it all come down.
Yeah, that's one of the easiest shows to load in and load out of, other than the limited parking at the loading gate. But you're right there, so
yeah,
it goes together pretty quick. Comes down pretty quick.
It's not necessarily a reenacting event, correct?
No, it is not a reenacting event. You will see some people there in period clothing, but the vast majority are just in street clothes. And
a lot of the items that are available are like reenactor items. They will be properly researched and recreated accurately. But there's a heavier focus on the contemporary side of things, but many of those contemporary items blend right in with the reenacting side too. So there's kind of your modern or contemporary era artworks, and then there's kind of an in-between there between something like shooting bags and powder horns, for example. I mean, anything there just about is going to slot right into whatever period you want to slot it into. Like we talk about a lot the higher end of things, and there's a lot of things there that are worth. I joke in my videos about the show, worth more than my car, but there's a lot of affordable, serviceable items that have just moved through the community that are there on a table, and it's a great show to go with a limited budget and kind of outfit yourself with some unique items that fit still historically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, about the only thing you can't get there for living history is clothing. There's not any clothing merchants. Yeah. Although I bought some clothes for my wife at the show, because Pat and Amanda Lips were selling some of their clothing that they don't use anymore. So, and the dress perfectly fit Jana, and so she has a new gown.
Nice.
My buddy Jay picked up a waistcoat there that fit. It's kind of that the clothing end of things is kind of a hit and miss. You know, there'll be a couple tables with some used stuff, but a lot of times it's really well made. Several of the tables I saw, all the clothing was all hand sewn, which was great to see for, you know, reenacting purposes. But it's just if it fits you or not. You know, it's just luck of the draw, table by table.
Right. And did you see the pair of saddlebags that our mutual friend Andy Wills acquired?
Yeah, I saw them after he acquired them.
Me
I mean,
too.
those look great.
Yeah, and
I don't have a horse, but those looked great.
I don't have a horse, but I have a saddle and everything else but saddlebags.
What are you doing with the saddle, Jason?
Because I've done 18th century riding trips.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've done a couple of horseback treks.
I caught up with Andy Saturday morning after he'd gotten in. He was in the hotel. What, Ryan? What?
Oh, Jason just received that question as a threat.
No.
You know, it's like, what are you doing with the saddle, buddy? He's like, hey, don't question that. No.
He really put up the wall there. Yeah. He's not letting me go down that one.
I'm not messing around here, Ethan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But we came down to the I caught up with Andy at the hotel for breakfast, which was great because it turned out to be one of the only times I got to see him the entire weekend. He had gotten up to go check out the buffet, and I just snuck over and sat my stuff right down beside his and said, I'm going to have breakfast with Andy. He's going to be an unwilling participant here. I want to talk to my friend.
Ethan, were you family in tow, or were you solo for this one?
I went with my father. He's the president of the NMLRA until September, and so we've helped pick up that association's table and display and things on our way to Lexington for the show for a few years now. Yeah. The Josephine, our youngest, is still pretty small, and we did quite a few long car trips with our oldest, Caroline, and it wasn't as enjoyable as it could have been. So we've kept number 2 closer to home. Maybe that's a story for another day. But yeah, I'd like to get to where we're taking the family. It's a great event for that because it's indoors and you know you're in an area with amenities, you know, for those creature comforts that make it easier. Most of the really expensive stuff is up high, so the kids can't wipe their boogers on it or anything, which is good. And the atmosphere of the show is really great.
Yeah, we've had Avery at the show since she was just under 3 months old. Of course, it's only 3 hours away for us, so it's a lot closer. But, you know, back in the day, we used to set up a playpen, one of those pack and plays, back behind the table, and we'd have her in it. Then as she got older, she would put a blanket under the table, and she would just kind of nap down there or chill out down there, which is it's funny now that she's gotten older. She started really getting into Roblox. She ended up putting a blanket under the table this time and playing Roblox while the show was going on.
That's sweet.
So in between selling her earrings, that is.
Right, yeah. As a demonstrating artist, I think it's great. I've had a table at the show for a couple of years now as kind of I've filmed it for a few years, just kind of being there on foot, and started getting a table to kind of have a home base, a place that I could kind of sit and I knew that people could find me. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next year, because it is nice having a table, but it is nice to be able to see more of the show and film more of the show to kind of promote what it's about and what's there. So it's kind of a balancing act. It's a really good show, though, to meet people, and I think the casual nature lends itself to that. I mean, I met fans from all over the country that were at the show, and that's always really great. I love that part of a show where you can meet and connect with people and kind of hear what they're into about muzzleloading, how they got started, and what they're enjoying about the show. And people bring by things that they picked up from an artist they've been following online for years, and you know, you can see their excitement, and they're excited to get home and take it out to the woods or take it to the range or something. And you know, you kind of get this full circle with somebody that you've just met, and of course the time you get to spend with friends that you see There's a lot of people I only see at that show, and I think that's what makes it real special.
I particularly liked the fan that walked up to me and said, "Hi, Ethan, I really love your podcast." No, I was told later by him that you may or may not have put him up to it.
Oh, okay.
Which was why I threw the paper ball that you
Gotcha.
just... No, it was pretty funny. We all had a big laugh about that.
Okay, super. Yeah, I remember that now. I remember putting him up to that.
So what were you saying, Ryan? You're starting to hear more and more.
I'm hearing more and more about the podcast at events and out in the wild, which is encouraging. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. We are very thankful for all 4 of our listeners.
Thanks, Mom.
I was at Feast one time, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, and we set up, we've got a good group of people over where we set up. Steve Caudle, the Daniel Boone of Kentucky, is over there. And he'll oftentimes have a stack of Townsend's catalogs and point people in that direction if it's something he doesn't carry. And I had a few people come up and want to talk about the channel or whatever, and a couple of people wanted to, give me to sign a catalog or something like that. And so there's this fellow that came up, and he only was giving me like little bits of information, and I was trying to, figure out where he was going, what he wanted to talk about.
What's your deal?
There were so many people around, right? And he's like, "Hey, I think I saw you in the." I was, "Oh, do you watch the YouTube channel?" And he goes, "No, YouTube channel." He's like, "But," and then he started to pull this catalog out of his like haversack. He goes, "But I saw you in the," and I was like, "Oh, the Townsend's catalog?" And he's like, "Townsend's catalog? No." And he's like, he goes, "I'm talking about the Playgirl catalog. Aren't you the fella from that?" And he's like, "I was wondering if you'd sign that for me." And I said, "I'm not really sure what you're talking about." And it turns out that Steve had given him that catalog. He gave him this whole bit of like half information to get me going, and then it was beautifully played. Hopefully he doesn't mind. I just told that story because it did.
I'm sure
Be
Steve
sure to go up
mind.
to Steve and ask him about it.
So massive indoor show, super high end stuff,
but also lower end stuff.
Sure, it runs the full gamut, right?
Absolutely.
But somehow everybody says, it makes me think, okay, so it's probably something like Kalamazoo. They're like, no, not really like Kalamazoo. So what's the difference? I mean, if you've only been, folks that are listening, they've only been to one indoor show, and it was Kalamazoo, or it was it was one of the many indoor reenactor kind of shows that we do. How is this one different?
It is not a living history show, so it is a contemporary long rifle show. I mean, you will see stuff there that's appropriate for living history, but it's focused to the art associated more so than just buying supplies for reenacting and living history.
So you might see some incredible craftsmanship, lots of engraving, I'm guessing. You're not going to see anywhere else other than museums.
Yet you might see like a straight bench copy of a period gun, and you might see a gun that is purely contemporary, that's inspired by the 18th or 19th century, but is just a modern work of art. Okay. Like Ian Pratt. If you look at Ian Pratt's guns, his guns are very contemporary. But the thing about the American long rifle is, ever since its inception in 1750, 1760, it's been continuously made. It's been an ever evolving art form. So, even post Civil War, people in the South were still making flintlock rifles. You had the Southern Mountain Builders, and then you had, in the early 20th century, you had Hacker Martin, and then you had Wallace Gusler, and you had Herschel House kind of expanding that. So the American long rifle's just been made ever since. And that art continues to evolve as the artists evolve. Some people want to just make period copies, and some people want to make what's in their heart.
Mm-hmm.
And both are right.
I think, too, compared to the other shows that are out there, this has a really high concentration of gun builders, and it has a high concentration of bag makers and horn makers and things too. But a lot of the big names in gun building, I think, that you read about and hear about kind of just in the community. Somebody at your club has a so-and-so rifle. A lot of those big name builders are at the CLA show, or their work is on display there. And I think another difference alongside that is there's quite a bit at the show that isn't for sale. It's on display. It's there to be shown and shared and studied. It's an opportunity to see work that you might not see elsewhere. Would you agree with that, Jason? You think that's fair?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you might see the work elsewhere, but you're not going to see the concentration of it like you do at the CLA show. You might get bits and pieces of it here and there, but it's so concentrated there at that show. It's unlike anything else.
So if somebody like myself came to the show, and I like to take pictures, it would be encouraged for me to bring a camera along and while I observe this stuff, just take it in and snap as many as I'd like to.
Yeah, I mean, I would ask the table holder just to be polite, but I don't think anyone is going to tell you no.
In the time that I've been going, I went as a younger person, really as a kid with my folks, and I think the attitude has changed quite a bit, especially over that period of time, in my lifetime for the show in the last 10 or 15 years. I've gone with a camera now, I think 4 years, and I've never had anybody tell me no, that I couldn't photograph it or couldn't video what they had on their table.
I'll tell you another really great thing that's encouraging about the CLA specifically is there are a lot of young craftspeople that come to that show. I mean, a lot. Really? Yeah. Yeah. If you hear people talking about, the hobby is aging or it's aging out or whatever, you look around the CLA and I would bet 25 to 30% of the people there are younger craftspeople.
I was just thinking about that as I've gone to shows specifically this year. And I don't know if it's because we're branching out further, so it's not just the usual suspects, but I'm meeting a lot of young people that are, they might not be full on, I'm going to go to events and dress out and camp and do the whole thing, but they're very interested in the art forms. They're very interested in the work and in the engineering of the time period, and they're experimenting with a lot of that on their own in their backyards or in their outbuildings. It's really, really cool to see.
Yeah.
The CLA has a great incubator program for those. I mean, I think it's weighted heavily towards the younger folks, but it accepts anybody of any skill level and any age. But they have the CLA New and Aspiring Artist program where you can apply and get a portion of a table basically sponsored by the CLF, the Contemporary Longrifle Foundation. And you can display at the show. All you have to do is get there, be a member and cover your room and board. You don't have to pay for your table. And I was part of that for a year, and a ton of younger folks and younger artists that I know have been a part of that. And it's been a great, I said incubator, but it's been a great kind of catapult for quite a few people to attend sometimes their first show and get their work on display and start networking with other artists in the community in a way that they may have not been able to in the past. That's the kind of program I'd like to see more organizations do. I think it's been really active and really positive.
Yeah, and I could be wrong, but I think your first year's membership might be included in that program.
It might be, yeah.
I know it was at one time, but I'm not sure if it is or not now. But I believe it is, but I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
Ethan, I just thought of something. This is a little bit off topic, but and it's on the nose, so hopefully it's okay to ask. I think that you'll have
powder it real quick.
Be able to formulate an answer. But being an artist who kind of came up in this hobby because of your parents bringing you to events, do you know do you lead as an artist when you're looking at things at a show like this, or do you lead as a history buff?
That's a great question. I think it's probably a balance of both. I think it depends on what I'm looking at and what I'm looking for. You know, like on a nice contemporary piece, I'm looking at it as an art form, I think. You know, it's no different than a painting or a sculpture, whether that's a bag or a horn or a gun or anything, you know, a woven sash or a document box or anything. It depends on what I'm looking for. You know, if I'm looking for a nice bag to go with a period, like I came home really energized to crack open the Chambers New England Fowler kit that I've had for a couple of years, and I'm ready for that to kind of be my next project. And so I'm thinking about things in that context, like, okay, you know, I want this to be kind of an early, you know, a carryover that a persona would carry into the Rev War kind of thing with the 250th and everything kind of coming up. So like there are things that I look at in that context of, you know, would this go well in that period and would that fit historically? But I really enjoy it as an art form. You know, I was a production artist for quite a few years, and this has been a great artistic outlet for me to start getting involved with the community, but then also just appreciate art again. So I don't know. I guess to the outside person, it might be hard to differentiate history and art, and maybe that's a video we could do sometime. Going through that stuff, but like, not to call him out, but like my Eric Ewing bags, they're a very contemporary bag with some, you know, 19th century association, but they aren't necessarily historic pieces. They're very contemporary, but they use similar stylings and techniques that you would have seen historically, if that makes sense.
I mean, those two ideas collide in the pieces that we're looking at, because, and it's one of the things that John Townsend and I have talked about for hours on long drives. We're post-industrial revolution, and so something that is utilitarian is strictly utilitarian most of the time. Now, you're not going to see a spoon that has a whole lot of engraving, or something like a rifle, where it's like, this is a tool to get a job done. Why the heck does it need to be pretty, right? But in our time period, and obviously we see a lot of things that are simply art or simply a tool, but we see the two ideas collide more often than you would expect, I think. And so, and there are things that you do as an artist that, like your statue, like your dolls that you make, the Deadhead dolls. There's not a really great, like, you're not going to look through Diderot and find something exactly like that. You're not recreating something that has been made, but you're looking at this idea that's more of a modern idea that you've cooked up, and you're adding history to it by putting it in this interlocking imaginary like timeline where this kind of thing would exist in that period context, which is really interesting.
I would call them a sculpture, not a doll.
Well, I call them dolls. No. And I do have some documentation on that, Ryan, that I carry with me for those. I can show you sometime if I got it at a show. Like, they're like, yeah, I appreciate that you recognize the kind of hybridization of that. But I have several neat examples out of some museums that are dated that are similar. But again, like, that's what I think is really neat about this show is you get slices, and it's not, you know, elevating anybody or pushing anybody else down, but you get some neat vignettes there where you have that intersection of history and art, and like what muzzleloading is now, or what the long rifle culture is now, and what it was then. And you see almost like a chart almost, that kind of ebb and flow as you walk down the aisles of somebody who's recreating just a beautiful original rifle, and then somebody who's just, we mentioned Matt Fenewald again, with those saddlebags. Like even Matt's table, he has some really great like period pieces that looked like you just pulled them out of the dirt, and they could go into a museum. And then he's got other stuff that's much more contemporary that just, you see the historic connection, you see the research, but it's blended with what we all know of is today, and it's just really cool. It's hard to explain. Like I get asked a lot about what does contemporary mean, like when I use that term on the channel. And I think for the association's definition or a lot of our definitions on it, it's kind of 20th century and forward. And Jason mentioned Hacker Martin earlier as a builder, and he's considered one of the first or one of the earliest contemporary builders, but he learned from quite a few people who wouldn't be contemporary. So there's this kind of flowing timeline there. But I bring that all around to say that there's this constant conversation with it to the past and to the present, and even like we've talked about before on the podcast here, even just a communication back to 50 years ago or 75 years ago and what's changed, or 25 years ago and what's changed. There's this beautiful back and forth because we have so much of this information still accessible. And I think that a lot of the artwork that you see at this show is a product of that, of knowing so much about the 18th century and the periods around then, but then also the last 100 years when we're still connected to a lot of the people today.
Yeah, and talking about Hacker Martin, I've kind of said several times in the past, Hacker's kind of a bridge. He's not really a contemporary maker, but he's not really an original maker. He's right in the middle. He learned from original makers, and so he's I don't know, he's a bridge. That's just the best way to say it.
Yeah.
And then you had the people that kind of followed him. And for those that don't know, Hacker Martin was a builder in the 1920s, 1930s.
Kind of Depression era.
He was in the Johnson City area of Tennessee, so that Tri-Cities area, Abingdon, Johnson City, Kingsport. And then there were several other people that learned from him, and they developed, their own school, this Johnson City school, which is over 100 years old, or right at 100 years old now. But they're not copying original guns. They kind of did their own thing, but they did them, 80, 90, 100 years ago.
It's really neat. I think if you're the kind of person that sounds interesting, like I think apart from like the networking and the hanging out and the talking and the shopping, like that's really one of the core aspects of the show that I love is seeing that. And I think that's what we mean by artwork. Like when we've been using that term, like it's not necessarily that it's all behind glass or it's all, multi-thousands of dollars, but there's that conversation again with the past and the present. And I think that's what kind of differentiates it from some of the other shows where you're going and shopping and you're finding period appropriate things to fit with an event or with a persona. This has that artwork element that, I don't know, makes you think. Like it's not a museum atmosphere, but I leave thinking like I do after I've left a museum, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's very inspiring.
I would like to venture to say that you also get there's a difference when you're looking at art in a museum and when you are looking at art, able to talk to the artist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. The person that made it's right there. Yeah.
And so, looking at a piece will teach you a lot. You can learn a lot, or you can just look at it, the splendor, what have you. But when you actually get to peek inside the mind of the creator, even for a second, to give you some insight into that piece, that opens the lid, man. That you can go all kinds of places.
Yeah, that really gives you just that insight, and I think that connection. Like that's one of the things I really like about in-person shows. Like it's really great to follow an artist or a maker, however you want to term it, and they've made something you like, and you order it, and you get it. It's a whole other thing to be at a show, any show, and be able to talk with them, or even just be around and seeing them interacting with people. Like, one of the greatest things about the CLA show, I think, is the number of those young artists, or the new and aspiring artists that willingly get taken around and introduced to other people in their field, or making things that they're interested in, and seeing those conversations happen, whether you're just coming in off of the street, or you're one of those new artists, and getting walked through how something was done, or sharing research on something. Like, there's just that human connection that's really, really special. And to see somebody whose work that you admire interacting with somebody, basically laying it all out on how something's done, so that knowledge continues for another generation, is super cool. Like, that doesn't get any better. Like, the number of people that came to me and said, I just got done talking with Wallace Gussler for like 45 minutes, was just awesome, just as an example. And comically, all the conversations with Wallace were with different topics, which was really cool. Like, there's this wide gambit that he's able to talk at length about. But people just, it happens with so many of those big names, those people that we've read about and heard about for decades. But this is at the CLA show, you just hear that nonstop of, I just talked with so-and-so for an hour about this thing that I was interested in.
One of my favorite things to hear from an artist, when visual, whether a songwriter, I don't care. It's just when you're in love with something that they've done, and then you get to talk to them about it, and you're like, so how did this come about? Or like, what made this happen? What made you want to do this? And the reply is something like, I just wanted to see if I could do it. Like, it comes from this, like, the simplest, like that thing that eats at the back of your brain until you give it a shot, because you saw something that made you wonder. And then it turns into this magnificent piece of art that people love. And I just like that, for the people that we lift up high and we hold up on pedestals and we say, this is the pinnacle of what a maker should be, they still come to their art in the same way that a child does, when they're just like, hey, I just want to see it. I mean, if they can do it, why can't I do it? And that's where it starts. It's so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So, two quick things. Talking about a maker talking to young people, one of the vignettes that I saw a couple of years ago, which I thought was just incredible, was there were two young knife makers there. It was Matthew Fenewald's son, Kai, and Travis Bauer's daughter, Tiana. Is that how you say her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tiana. And Kyle Williard was talking to both of them and really encouraging them, telling them how much he liked what they were doing and telling them they need to stick with it. And he spent probably an hour with them away from his table, encouraging them. That was really cool to see. He's one of the most established knife makers in our hobby, and he was, excited and happy that younger people were doing this.
Like he just did that for a good time, and to it's like, oh, here's a young person that could you probably use some encouragement, but I want to hear what they have to say. Like he would have just done it for fun.
Yeah. Well, he was just doing it for fun. We've been talking about that for the last hour-ish or so. Let's quickly get into kind of what we're doing for the rest of the year, or at least the fall. What do y'all have coming up for the fall?
I think my next thing is the September National Championships at the NMLRA in Friendship, Indiana. Looking at probably doing another slingshot trip where we get down Saturday and stay Sunday and then head home, just with everything going on. So it'll be kind of a quick hangout. But then there's the Feast and Mississinawa 1812 coming up too, and would like to get down for a day to each of those if we can. But really, right now that we're back from the CLA, it's full steam ahead on Kalamazoo. So we're starting to reach out for presentations and things for the 2026 show, and studying or continuing to study really under Rick and Leslie as we start getting to where we're going to be mailing out applications and everything. So we've been in communications a lot with the venue and with Rick and Leslie, of course. But just kind of heading in that direction. Unfortunately, we tabled the historic trekking weekend for this year. With the Kalamazoo show and everything, we want to make sure that our first year goes as smoothly as we can. So we're really just dedicating a lot of extra time to that. And, between the family and the shop and things, it was really stacking up, and I didn't want to add more pressure where there didn't need to be, especially on the family. So hoping to take some time this winter and start planning for that next year and reach out to a lot of the folks who volunteered to help with it and help keep everybody safe and help me out a little bit and hopefully bring that back next year. But other than that, I'd like to crack open that New England Fowler kit and get that built. I'm hoping, fingers crossed. I've said that now for a year or more, so hoping to make that happen, but just looking for those opportunities where I can come hang out with you guys, really, at events.
Cool. Well, speaking of Kalamazoo, I was over at David Wright's house earlier this morning helping them make boxes and ship books out. David Wright's book about his artwork and his life just came out last week, premiered at the CLA show.
I cannot believe I did not pick that up at the CLA show.
I cannot believe you
realized
didn't
that
either.
As we left Lexington, and it just did not happen. It irks me.
David Wright,
Looks
historian with a brush. It's a phenomenal
Jason,
book.
is there a place online that people can grab that?
Yes, you can get that online at davidwrightart.com. You can order it online. And there's a chance that the box that it comes in will have been made by me.
It might have some Jason Gatlin beard hairs in it.
It might.
Jason, could I order that and have it delivered to Friendship by you?
Oh, yeah,
Is that
absolutely.
possible? Okay, cool.
And Ryan, what are your plans for the end of the year? What events are you going to be doing?
Oh, man, I'm going to try to remember. We have a local event called Stone's Trace in September. And then we are headed out to Mount Vernon in September. October is Mississinawa, Feast, and Massac. There might be another show that I'm forgetting. Then there's Camden, South Carolina. Yeah. So I think that we purposely left a couple of gaps because it is my oldest daughter's senior year. And so there are some events that she has that we want to make ourselves available to make at school. She just got her license today, by the way.
Oh, wow.
So if you
Very
live in
nice.
Northeast Indiana, beware. You might stay off the roads for a little while. I'm joking. She's great. So as far as events go, I think that pretty well covers it. And then I've been sitting on a completed piece of a record that I really need to put out. And so I'm trying to get back into the swing of being used to traveling to play music. And so I think that I'll probably have a few more weekends of that in the year. I know that I've got a weekend at the end of the month. And then I think November and December will both have at least a weekend. I can't do like 2-week runs anymore. Just have too much going on. The Blue Lion is full steam ahead. I think that hopefully by the end of the year, we'll have another 2, maybe 3 accounts that we're carrying for restaurants and coffee houses and that sort of thing. We got some things in the works. You never know how those are going to pan out. There are just so many moving parts with a restaurant that's starting up. But I think that will happen. And past that, just personally, I've got 2 kids that are moving into adulthood, or one of them that is, and so there's just a whole lot of there are new things to tackle with that, things to teach them, and things that they're learning and they're teaching me. So there's never a dull moment at Camp Kerr, that's for sure.
Yeah. That's wonderful. And then for me, for the rest of the year, I'll be at Friendship also the first weekend. of the shoot. So like the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th of September.
Probably.
That sounds about right. And then in September also, Jake Book is hosting a little event, a juried muster here at Bledsoe's. It's just 7 miles up the road from me, so I'll definitely be there for fun. And then in October, I'll be at Log Cabin Shop for their early American Trades Fair the second weekend of October. And then in November, I will be at Fort Deschart for the Winter Rendezvous and Woods Walk, which is always a really, really fun event. It's a really great shoot. It's a team shoot, but it is a blast, literally. And finally, for the year, Liza Kindig and I, she owns Log Cabin Shop, we're going to try to put this stuff in front of some new people. We're going to go set up at the Georgia Bushcraft event in Watkinsville, Georgia, the second weekend in November.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm really excited to hear about how that goes.
It's a fantastic event. I've gone a couple of times to camp with my friends at LT Wright Knives and hang out with them when I was in Georgia anyway, deer hunting with my dad, so I was able to get both things in one trip. But it's a really, really great event, and there are definitely people there that are interested in living history and shooting muzzleloaders. So it'll be nice to put the magazine and the videos and books and stuff in front of them. And I think if I can get a mannequin, I'm going to dress it up in my living history clothes, and I'm going to take like my trekking kit and stuff and talk with anybody that's interested. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a great deal of fun. And that's it for the end of the year, other than, continuing to publish and continuing to work on other projects. And hopefully I'll be shipping out a lot of coffee soon.
Feels like it. I wanted to throw this out there. People made it all the way to the end. I'm doing promotion for coffee. So for listeners of the podcast, if you, in the coupon section at BlueLionCoffeeCompany.com, put the word Firelock and you get 15% off of your order. It's for one-time use per customer, and I'm just going to keep it going. So for the next little while, anybody listening to the podcast is able to do that. The word Firelock is their coupon code, and they will get 15% off of whatever they order.
That's fantastic. Nice. Well, once again,
I should mention.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Really quick. Sorry, Jason. Ryan got me thinking. I have the next run of my Killer Be Killed mugs in the coffee shop right now. And we're going to put them online August 30th. So I took some to the CLA show, and I only brought one back, which was pretty cool. It was nice that people liked them. We've got 3 colors, 2 styles this time. And I've heard a lot of feedback that people want a bigger mug. So unfortunately, I have one bigger mug, one color bigger mug this time. But the next run that we do will be bigger mugs. Because people want more coffee, which is great. I love coffee too. But this run that I have now will go up August 30th on ilovemuzzleloading.com, and we'll start shipping them then. So keep an eye out, or shoot me an email with some questions if you have any about it.
That is the one complaint I have about the I Love Muzzleloading mug. I love it, but it is very small.
So I've since learned that my train of thought is totally backwards to everybody else. I like a little bit of coffee that's really hot. And so by the time I'm done with the cup, it's not had a chance to get cold. And so I just fill it from a larger thing of hot coffee. Everybody else wants a big cup of coffee at once. And I'm like, no, I'm doing like 10 or 15 of these. It's fine. But people want a half gallon. So, okay.
I'm with you. I like a smaller cup, normally half full, so it cools down faster because I don't want to drink it piping hot. And and then I just piece on it throughout the whole day.
No, you're also wrong. I'm the professional here. Okay, I'm pulling rank.
He is the barista.
You just sell me the beans, okay, Ryan? I make the coffee. Okay, let's be real here. Let's set the tone. Okay.
You're gonna have to own that coffee shop for a few more years to catch up, buddy.
Yeah, your head's in a head above, way above me.
Watch out, folks. It's a bean measuring contest. So we do have a coffee mug coming out. I went with Deneen Pottery also, and we have them ordered. They should be available in November. But the cups we ordered are 14 to 16 ounce, so they're larger. But I'm
So you
excited.
beat Ethan. That's great.
My larger one is 14. My larger mug is 14 ounces, guys.
I'm not going to be impressed till one of you orders a 42-ounce mug.
That would weigh
that cannot be
8,000 pounds in ceramic. Just carry a pitcher. Just drink straight out of a pitcher.
Yeah, it's cheaper to buy the AirPod at that point, right? Like,
All right. So, once again, this podcast is brought to you by Blue Lion Coffee, BlueLionCoffeeRoaster.com, I Love Muzzleloading, ILoveMuzzleloading.com, Muzzleloader Magazine at muzzleloadermagazine.com, and reenactingschedule.org. Thanks for joining us, and we will catch you next time.
but Jason, will people get to the website without www dot? Will they be able to navigate, Jason? What if they're lost in the World Wide Web now because you didn't www dot? What are we going to do? We got to go into cyberspace and find them.
Let me Google that for you.
Yeah, Google that for me.